Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day to be alive. I came outside and it was so sweet. That fresh air smell, like you can you know what it is? The guy came and mowed the lawn too, so it smells just like fresh cut lawn. And my senses are overwhelmed with just, sensations of what's it like to be alive, here in the fall. Even though they mowed it all, you can still see the leaves on the ground. Like, damn, bro, it's time for a change. And good and bad, it's all part of the plan, man. And I just had this whole conversation in my head this morning as I've been editing my videos of like how happy and ecstatic I was for smashing my goals, and then to lose a baby right after. And it became clear to me that everything is good and bad, even the old people staring at me. Good morning. It's part of the show. Saints Addiction, let's go. So, it goes to show, that life is this ever evolving, ever changing, just like your moods, just like your attitudes, just like your feelings of like one day you'll feel like you're on top of the world, the next minute you're crashed upon the rocks at the bottom. And that's facts, Jack. That's one of those things that you gotta take the good with the bad. That's why there's a halo with horns, and it's one of those things that we all can sit there and post the things that make us like super proud and super happy and elated, versus the when you're down on the couch and down and super broke, super lonely, and things aren't going your way. These are the situations that I wanted to talk about today for the morning motivation, which I already got right here. But it's true, bro. You go into a situation where it should scare you. Your dream should scare you, because there's so many realms of possibilities of things that actually should scare you, versus things that are just sensations of change and different behaviors and different patterns. What I lost was a child. I mean, this literally shook my whole earth. I'm literally watching myself watching these videos going from Sao Paulo to San Francisco. And I was so happy. I was almost 42 years old. I was tanned. I was ripped. And I was having a baby. And I was up top of the world, only to be thrown down into deep depression, getting overweight, triggering my mom's depression, the loss of a child that was supposed to be so much hope and so much positivity. Changed for me. It really did change me and change for me and change my whole experience in life, where I found out what was really scary. I thought South Korean prison was scary, but the loss of a child was unbearable. And as I watched things in the morning, Admiral Yamamoto writing how he came to America and did his research. He actually came to Harvard and went to East Texas to go check out the oil fields with his own eyes. This guy was just eating bread and sleeping in barns just so he could get more information. And he knew that if he started World War II with America, that they had a lot of industrial might, that we were making oil 10 times the magnitude, and an airplane every 63 minutes, and that how many fucking people had cars in the parking lot of the factories that we made. It's a stark reality. It goes from these perceptions that we'll have in our head. I was watching it too with the Nazis when they became POWs, and they thought it was a mind trick. They thought we were fucking with them by giving them soaps and hot showers and real meals, where their people were starving. They were making wheat soup and watered down turnip soup and maybe even horse meat if they were lucky. And we were feeding them coffee, abundance of sugar and wheat, real bread that they could eat, and no one was going to take it away from them. And they were genuinely scared. They're like, there was so much lack from where they came from that they couldn't even fathom that there was so much abundance on the other side. And this is the good and the bad of everything. We like to think that everything has no end, but even our factories have ended, and we've given them over to China and let them begin the manufacturing process and the destruction of their own environment. There's a good and bad in everything. You got to wear it the same. They celebrated when they bombed Pearl Harbor. They literally popped out the sake and celebrated in the streets their own demise. They didn't even know that the sleeping dragon had arisen, and they woke up a giant that would never stop till they got the victory. And that was us as Americans. We have stopped going after our own manufacturing, and we have given it over to China or Taiwan to make our chips. And we're like, well, how are we going to get our victory back? The truth is everybody's going to rest on their laurels, good days and bad. The real discussion is do you live in between? I could have let that be the end of my story. I lost a child. Well, there goes my end of my story. Life is over as I know it. But it didn't. It kept going on. I kept pushing. Actually, I took that energy and I went throughout America. I went up into like Montana and Wyoming. I went and got to see what's it called? Since I went with my ex to Yosemite, I wanted to go see, what's the other one? Not Yosemite. What's the other one? It's Yosemite and where are the Grand Tetons, Mark? What's the other big national park? I don't know. It's escaped me, and I haven't even smoked yet this morning. But to go see the great bison in the snow, and to go see my life grow and the Midwest and all this snow in South Dakota and North Dakota, and go see what's the man, I can't remember anything with the four great faces. It's a national monument, but I can't even remember any of those things. I don't know why. Maybe I need to smoke. Let's get some morning motivation this morning. You should upgrade your camera quality. I got what I got, bro. I've won what I brung. This isn't a fucking Hollywood set. This is real life, and it comes with upsets. It comes with unclear cameras. It comes with situations that you didn't even prepare for, and yet there it is. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And even if my camera is ugly, it's the truth, and I rather tell an ugly truth than a pretty lie, and that's what ended up happening. It happened with the Japanese. They didn't want to believe that these people, these barbarians, this imperial, I want to say an imperial power took over their empire, and they couldn't fathom that they had abundant resources or that they had so much more in science. And then when Nagasaki and Hiroshima landed, they realized that they had more capabilities than they ever thought that they had. You can think that you're Boss Hoss, but I'm here to say there's somebody else that's bigger than you. There's somebody else that's trying harder than you, and somebody's got a better life than you. Does that mean you stop living? Does that mean you stop trying? And does that mean you stop giving yourself a chance? No, of course not. You got to keep going with yourself. You got to keep pushing yourself to go see what's on the other side of your sadness, or what's on the other side of your laziness, or what's on the other side of your depression. It depends on how much energy you're giving. And most of us, we're not trying to do the most with our lives. We get scared. We get disencouraged. We become uninitiated, and then we're like, well, what had happened was, well, you had let the negativity lead you. You had let the judgment be the final decision, and then all of a sudden you're like, what just happened to my life? I didn't understand how it could go so far north and south. And this is everybody, if you want to get more people watching you, dude, I do not want more people watching me. I want more people getting off this thing and living their lives. There's no push for anything. The only thing I need is a magic 10,000 subscribers so I can sell my merchandise underneath all my videos that I've already done. I've already lived a blessed life. I've already been around the world 3 different times. And it's not a popularity contest. It's an awareness. I reach, preach, and teach every morning in this beautiful sunlight from around the world. Next time it's going to be in Vietnam. And I go from, well, it's nice 10 degrees right now, but, going from 14 to 33 is a big difference, as you will soon see. And that's the stark reality of how far we can go, how we can be so ecstatic and then so depressed, how we can be full of energy and then flatlined. And then if we can have our halo on, but then sometimes our horns come out. It's real. My burps are real. My life is real. And my outputs. And that's why I have to keep it real in the morning. Mr. Cluck, I see you, bro. Just got back from tripping on shrooms and it's calm. Good morning. There's Papa. Papa's pulling up. We're getting it in here. Yeah, and say hi. That's what's up. I wish I could give you 22,000 subscribers. Thank you for talking about this. Well, I just saw everybody just they show their highlights, right? Just like this guy wants me to be perfect. I didn't fucking brush my hair this morning. I just combed it over, you know? And at least I brushed my teeth, and then that, like, everything's more shiny, and that I get to live a life. Are you staring at me? This little old lady staring at me, watching me. So, of course, when the eye goes back on you, good morning, that you put yourself in a situation where you're like, oh yeah, everything's shiny, and I only show my highlights, and nobody wants to talk about their losses. But I'm literally watching my own videos going like, man, I lost, bro. I was there so happy, so fit, so tan. And then I was about to go through some of my biggest depressions. And it goes like that. We think that everything's perfect and it's lit, and then it might be dim. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to talk about that from within, the losses, and how it's a part of the recipe of success, and that how what we do with that energy will determine our reality. And a lot of people want to be like, oh yeah, everything's perfect. At least I got a girlfriend. That girl left me. I was like sitting here literally watching myself talk about love and how I smashed all my goals, and then the next thing I know, I was thrown down the rabbit hole, or the shit pipe, if you will, and I'm still standing here. I'm still got to go to Machu Picchu. I still got to travel the world with no money. I still got to build a business, even though I didn't know it would ever happen, or what would become of it. And that's what ends up happening inside of us. We have a war going on. You know, the difference, if we're going to do something with our time, or if we're going to capitulate and just hide. And that's the raw facts. Like, most everybody else would be like, oh, I just woke up this morning and my hair's all perfect and my makeup's done and my life's all put together. Then they click off the phone and they can't leave it alone. It's like, oh shit, everything's not as cool as I pretended to be. You know, I've been hiding underneath my sheets, and the only thing I did was put my makeup on so I could go live with you and pretend that everything was okay. Bro, we just need a day without TV, without cussing, without thinking, without asking questions, and be glad that we got so far. It's pretty much what this morning motivation's about. You know, the halo and the horns. I said the good and the bad, and I should have said the ugly, because most of us don't want to show our ugly. We don't want to show us losing our temper, or getting frustrated, or taking a loss. Nobody wants to put that out there. They were like, oh no, everything's awesome, I'm making all the money in the world. I'm like, I'm still grinding for Intersect.ai. I'm still grinding for our first deal, and it's taken us over a year. It's still hard to do, and it's because that hard. We do these things because they are hard. You know, we do those hard things because then it brings the best out of us. It's almost like you need a Larry Bird for a Magic Johnson. You need an adversary to see who was it? What was his name? Mashido? What was his name? The ultimate sword winner in samurai history. You know, we need these things to bring out the best in us. And even if the rest of Japan wasn't paying attention, Yamamoto was still going like, yo bro, these guys are making oil like we've never seen. And then these poor girls were crying like, these guys are giving us bars laced with poison, and it was just foamy and perfume scented. And they're just like, no way, I haven't been clean in months, I haven't been able to eat in weeks. You know, all these things literally broke the psychology of the master race, right? These were the Nazis. Like, nobody engineers better than us. Yeah, they didn't engineer better than us, but they made it for a common man could change the tires on a tank and be able to fix things without a bunch of specialized tools, and that they made 20 of them to the one Tiger tank that they pushed out. The numbers were there, and then yet people still wanted to do the master race or start a World War II or the disbelief that they had. You know, like the POWs, like they didn't have to beat us with what do they call it, mind torture or whatever the CIA does with them. They said they beat us with our bellies, bro. Like, fucking sakes, you know. It's 3 where I am, 3 a.m. Yeah, dude, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here in Finland. See, it's a worldwide situation, dude. And it's just, I've been watching a lot of that stuff where we see the numbers and we disbelieve. We don't want to believe it because we want to believe a pretty lie. You know, it feels better to digest and internalize than the hard truth. You know, and that's what I'm about. You know, I'm an honest sinner. You know, I've been a winner and a loser. You know, I've had the touchdowns and the frowns. I've been on the top of Machu Picchu and the bottom of hell and back. You know, and I'm here to say it's all of it. You know, it's all of it. It's a whole combination of life. What's up, Seth? I see you, yo. And it's just one of those things that most people, they just want you to look at the highlights, like, hey, I'm on top of the world. I got a friend that's bungee jumping out, and I think he's in Bali or something, and the whole time he's holding his phone and he's holding his ego instead of just being in the moment. No, he can't wait to post it, and that's like these things that we're hypocrites to ourselves. We're like, I don't have an ego, but that's what we do when we post, and part of my ego is to go live every morning, but it was also to not just show off what I'm doing with my life, but to echo to the world, like, here, some psychology. Here's the hypocrisy. This is the truth being told on a microphone that I created. I had to get 1,000 subscribers before they would even monetize me. Back in the day, now we only need 50, and then I got 500 views on the worst day of my life, the Las Vegas police harassing me, and like 9 cops piled into my business after they already been up in the business, telling my mom to sit down and pushing me up against a wall in a business that I started, like I stole from myself. And yeah, you'd be like, yeah, I want 500,000 views. I'm sure you do, till the cops start talking to your mom crazy, or pushing you up against your own wall, or you having to go to court the next day to prove that this is your own business. Sure, that's what I have to do for $500,000. I think I just saw one with like Bonnie Blue got punched in the face at a nightclub. I'm like, sure, you want to be popular till people start swinging on you. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you want to be Boss Hog, like what's his name? The dude that just got shot in the neck. What's his name? I don't know, man. I don't even know him before that. And everybody was, oh yeah, and then I wake up to see that his wife was with President Trump underneath his arm with a Playboy shirt on. So there goes your Christian values and your martyr and all these things where you're just like, yeah, dude, probably don't go fucking on campuses talking shit to crazy ass students, or you'll get shot. I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure, you start making people feel stupid and you don't help them save face, they're gonna get angry and they're gonna go find their uncle's gun and come shoot your ass, regardless of your political views, or regardless if he was Christian or a Democrat or any of that shit. Regardless if you even fire somebody for their own opinion, he still got shot. You know what I mean? Like, in results, like dead in the water. Same with Yamamoto. I was just watching it. He got shot down by a P-58 Mustang. I think that's what killed him. And he had a note in his pocket, still clutching a sword, going like, yo, bro, I'm here to let you know, for every fucking plane you sink, they got 10 times more than that. For every gallon that we spend, we're going into deficits, and they got endless oil underneath their feet. And no matter what you do in your life, it's going to come out into perpetuity. And this is just facts, bro. It's not like you get to fucking hide from realities. These things are real to our faculties. Like, if you can really keep it real with yourself, then you really get to see that there's some ups, some downs, some smiles, some frowns, and it makes it all round. Like a yin yang, there's a little bit of dark in the white, and there's a little bit of light in the dark, and it's part of it all. And I don't think we ever wanted to keep it real. I think we're getting a shipment here. The truck just pulled up. I'm not quite sure what's he dropping off. Let's check it out though. I want to do my morning smoke, and then we can go. Did he get in? Yeah, see? Fresh delivery. Nothing like some fresh paper. I don't know where he's coming. There he is. Okay. I was like, where did he go? You pulling it up? Here? Do you need some help? You got it? Is this guy? I didn't even see him come around.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It should be easy. And that's what it is. Another day in life. You know what I mean? Good morning. We got people coming in. We got packages going out. Look at action this morning. But it's our full lives. We want to hide behind all of our things and pretend like, the old people aren't sitting there gossiping, or the black dudes aren't even smiling. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Look at them flex and go, bro. This is the packages. This is the life. One day you're up and you're on chips, and the next minute you're down and out, and you don't know what it is. It's a full experience, and I'm here to say that I've lived a full life. I would like to say that it was just all downs and frowns, but that's not true. I've had auxiliary moments where it just felt like I was on top of the world, and everything was at my beck and call, and all I had to do was live, y'all. And then part of living is the loss and things not going your way and making bad decisions. It's one of those situations. But all of us like to pretend that everything's awesome in the end. And the truth is that it's gonna take some heavy lifting sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, this is the fucking real deal of the holy field, and whether you get it or don't, life is still gonna teach you, regardless if you're ready to listen or not. So it's like, experience is the best teacher still, no matter what, in life. And it's gonna teach us whether we want to be students or not. It's part of the game, and part of our game is to be able to live and learn, keep going even though you feel like you've lost, and keep pushing even though it's looking bleak. You know what I mean? That's just part of the game. It's what we all do. You know what I mean? So you got to be the type of person that looks at your situation, your chessboard, your movements, your abilities, or your lack thereof, and say, I'm still going to have to do something with my life. I'm still going to have to move it in a general direction. Things are moving around me, and the only thing that is constant is change. You know what I mean? Like, even this old lady grabbing her dog and cuddling over and staring at me, she does every morning, and it's just like, whether you stare or not, lady, life is going to go on. This guy's got deliveries to do. Life moves forward, and so shall you, and that's what I was learning this morning. For my motivation was, I was just like, wow, dude, no matter what I do, life will go on in perpetuity. This chick is fucking crazy. I don't know what her deal is, but it's one of those. She's talking to herself. Who knows, bro? But I'm gonna smoke my joint this morning. You should be joining Weed Club. You should be aware of your fragility and your strength. You should be aware of the wins and the losses. You should be aware of the shine and the darkness, because it's in all of us, whether we like it or not. One day you're going to be on top of the mountain, like they said at the Count of Monte Cristo. You will bask on this, on the beaches, and be crashed upon the rocks the next. It's just one moment after the other, and it's trying to live our best life as much as we can, and know how blessed we are, and enjoy as much as we can in the passing of time, because that's what life is. It's the passing of time, and not all of us enjoy it. We tend to scrutinize it, judge it, and forget. Look at these guys. These guys are fucking crazy. This is my crazy neighbor situation. The old man that putzes around, the old lady that talks to herself and her dog. They're everywhere, whether it be Mallorca, Spain, or Finland, Thailand. It doesn't matter. Everybody's kind of the same. Good, bad, and ugly. Maybe I should change the title of this thing, but it's what it is, and it's also what you make it. And I really like to think that I gotta push further for the enjoyment, and not sit there in the losses. It's just part of the cycle. It's not just one part of the meal. It's like they said, if you had an apple and you enjoyed a bite, every bite you bit into this apple, and then you found out there was a worm in the middle, did the other bites not taste delicious? That's like life. And you got to lick it to taste it. So I'm just grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful I got food, clothing, and shelter, my 3 bad habits. I'm grateful that I have my health. And soon enough, it'll be wealth, a wealth of experience, a wealth of traveling, and a wealth of finances. And then I would think that my life was a success. I'd like to also bless myself with love, children, and a family. But that's a bigger dream than, I don't even know if that's even going to happen. So we don't get to predict these things. We only get to live these things. And the more you live, the more you learn. And that's why I rise and shine every morning. I want to be in my body. I want to be in this mind, in this vessel, and make the most of it while I was allowed to wake up. One day it's not going to happen. And one day I'm going to be an old person talking to my dog, apparently, and walking around staring at everybody. You know what I mean? Like, the old man and his security. So security, insecurity, happy, sad, alive, not alive, these are certain things, but in between those things, in between the good and the bad and the judgment and the outcomes, there's a life to be lived. And no matter what you wear and no matter where you go and no matter what you do, that's the experience that you're going to get. And I hope everybody lives a blessed life. That's what I'm hoping on. This morning motivation, to finally be brave enough to change my outcomes, change my destinations, and change my environment. Every morning I'm outside and I'm looking at these beautiful trees and this fresh air and the birds chirping, and soon it'll probably be more birds. You know what I mean? Like from Vietnam and hot weather and no coat, and put my sandals back on and just be able to enjoy this thing called life, because it passes whether you're emotionally involved or distracted. The time is now, and what we do in the now will echo in eternity. And I don't know who wrote that quote, but so true, dude. Do something today that you can thank yourself for later. Put in the work, take the adventure, book the trip, hit the go button. It's all part of the plan, man. And it's all about how much you work your plan. So while I was watching myself go on and on about smashing goals, and then next thing I know, it was like the worst depression of my life. It's part of it. It is part of the story. I feel like Hemingway, he lived a pretty cool life, but he also killed himself. It's like, what kind of life did you live if you end it on your own terms, I guess? Like if you end it early, before you were supposed to pre-mortis. How about that? Not post-mortis, but pre-mortis. Like, what are we going to do before we die? What are we going to do with our lives? And what are we going to do with this day? One of my favorite quotes is, day one or one day, it's up to you, but you got to make a choice. And I choose to live. I choose to get up, get in the shine, and still persevere. Just like you said in 12 Years a Slave. I choose to persevere. I choose to overcome these things. While the girl was just crying, he said, "Stop crying." The rest of us are still trying to be busy doing than wishing and persevering and making sure that these outcomes come in our favor instead of wishing on luck or something to come save us, like a lottery ticket. We write our own ticket. We book the trip. We go further than we ever thought that we could. And I think that's the human conundrum, like that we have such great possibilities, but we also have such great despairs. And somewhere in between there's life still going on. Someone's greatest day is someone's worst day. And we all got to participate. That's what life's about. It's a participation sport. So I hope you participate in this thing called your life. I hope you become an active force and take action and make something from a vision to a reality. That's what Saints Addiction's all about. This is my biggest dream. It has demons, but it also has possibilities. So go out there and make it possible. I'm possible is inside of impossible, and awesome things come from beautiful disasters, and it's always the shiniest after a storm. So life will smile upon you the next, my friend, but it's what you do next that will determine your outcome. Do your worst, for I will do mine. Count of Monte Cristo. So that's this morning's motivation. If you got anything out of this, you already know. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe below. But as always, peace and love. And Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever. And finished. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world. Because that's where I be, and that's where I am. Peace. Shining, boy, shining. Feels good.